Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, making some good trades as per usual. Right now, we had another amazing day in the market, pumping up to more highs and actually breaking past this downsloping trend line and going past my resistance box right here that I have outlined for a potential pullback scenario. So now we're really getting extended. And again, it can continue, but the longer it takes, the heavier the pullback will be. So now that we've passed this red box here, I would have to outline this as an extended fifth wave, and it can extend, right? So we can go to the subwaves later, but right now, wave one can extend further and further and further. It can actually even keep going to as high as like 460, right around here, right around basically this previous pivot top of wave three. But it would have to pull back before wave three, because right now to make it a valid count, you'd have to start to pull back before some previous pivots right now. And at the moment, you're actually at the 786 extension. So right now, if we draw from the previous high all the way to the low that we got right here, let me just adjust this a little bit better. You're coming to the 786 level, and then that's kind of where we stopped and stalled at today. We actually closed above it. Maybe I'm drawing this. No, it's to the T right now, so it's good. So right now we're just above the 786. We'll have to see if the PPI comes in hotter than expected or lower than expected. I don't know what it's going to do. But overall, what you're going to do is you're going to get a reaction eventually, and the price will start to pull back, and you'll fill some gaps. And that will be indicative of a healthy pullback if this bullish scenario is going to keep playing out. Okay. Right now, if we take a look at the futures on the daily time frame, for the SPY bit, essentially, there's no signal of any top in place just yet, and that's why I say it can keep extending. Right, we didn't have any top signals here back at 4,400, but again, there was a very low risk, high reward short opportunity considering how extended we were and coming from this downsloping trend line, and obviously it didn't work out. So if you did take this short, you should stop out immediately. Right, you shouldn't hold on to the trade because it can keep getting out of hand very quickly. There's a lot of euphoria in the market, and there's a lot of FOMO. So there's going to be a lot of people continuing to push this up, and the Mag 7 will keep floating up. I know how absurd it could sound, but they will keep going. They can keep going up. I'm not saying they will keep going up. A weekly time frame, again, showing that this was obviously a very nice bottoming signal, and that the fifth wave in the S&P can extend to the $5,100 levels on the S&P 500. That's why we always got to keep an open mind and not just focus on one side of the trade, right? So I know there's a lot of people that are bearish right now, myself included, but you gotta go with what the chart tells you. Right now, the chart is showing a significant breakout in the market. We'll get a retrace eventually, and I'll cover that, and potentially we might get some signals in some other stocks like PayPal and ROKU and Microsoft and stuff like that. But overall, right now, this is the bullish count. The bearish count is that this S&P 500, chart right here that I have outlined is essentially just an extended wave two, right? So let me just pull this wave two up here today. Let me just get on maybe some shorter time frames. And right now, so the wave two is essentially extending, and it can extend, right? It can keep extending higher and higher. This is a C wave, right? This is a C leg. Maybe I'll do some sub wave counts here, see what we can find. So if this is your wave A, B, and this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just an extended fifth. So I guess you could call it that. It should finish at any moment, but it can't keep going, right? Don't get me wrong. This can keep going in a very, it could just keep going and going and going. Fifth wave extensions can keep on going, but eventually they will end, and then you'll get your pullback. And that'll be a buying opportunity, right? Because if you're buying now, you're essentially chasing. You're FOMOing in, and you're just hoping to God it just keeps going up. But again, like I said on the daily, we don't have any topping signals just yet. A 4 hour, let me just take a look very quickly. Okay, so we might be getting a bit of a topping signal maybe soon. You can see the momentum waves are curling in, but you have strong green money flow, so that's really good for more upside in the markets. And I think on the the 1 hour index, we're showing a potential top in the fifth wave on the Elliott wave indicator as well. Okay, but overall, we saw that the big money was selling. Sorry, this is the Bitcoin chart. Let me just get over to the SPY futures here. So you can see on the 1 hour time frame, big money was selling, and they still are. So again, big money doesn't always sell all at once. Sometimes they'll take profits along the way, and you also have to take a look at how much accumulation that they've been doing, right? You can see they've been accumulating here and accumulating here for a significant amount. Now they need to unload all of this, right? All of this needs to be sold, right? So this is maybe our Santa Claus rally 1 month in advance, and then everyone's going to be expecting another Santa Claus rally in December, and maybe we won't get it, right? So we always have to take that into consideration. So right now we got a lot of selling. I don't think I want to make this circle any bigger. Maybe we'll do this. So yeah, you're getting a lot of selling. They are taking profits. Don't get caught into the FOMO. If you have your long positions already, then sit on them, right? But if you're trying to short this, it could be very painful in trying to get in front of it, because it could just keep blowing up towards the upside higher and higher and higher. Okay, let's take a look here at the IWM. So we have outlined the bearish scenario and then the bullish scenario. So again, I think I made it very clear that once the bearish scenario comes, the retrace is going to be the most important part, right? It's going to work because we're going to see if this turns out to be a wave 1, 2, and a 3 in the beginning of a wave 3 of a 3, or if it's going to be a bounce to new all-time highs. And that's why I also can see the all-time high scenario happening, even though the fundamentals don't support it. But the markets don't always go with the fundamentals. They can get detached and they can do whatever they want. And let me just load up the weekly chart. I don't know what's going on with my internet today. It's very slow. But overall, we'll take a look at the IWM very quickly here, if it'll load. There we go. Because it's probably because I have so many lines drawn on the chart, and it's not loading up very fast. There we go. So the weekly could extend further to 510, and that's why I have it plotted out already on the bullish scenario, is that we could go to 510 to 520, or just make a nominal high on the market. Okay, so the IWM, again, this is another scenario that we plotted out. So this could have been our A, B, and a C, right? Something like this. And then we were going to, see that this wave 2 was already finished, and then we're going to start to come back down in a 1, 2, and a 3. But right now, what's happening is that essentially this was where your wave A, and I actually like this much better because it's more clean. So this is a wave A, B, and a C, and the C should extend higher to around, let me just calculate it right here for you guys. So there we go. I think it should be something like this from wave 4 to 5. This should extend to about, just pull it up here. Oh, sorry, no, I had to pull it down here. So from A to 5, there we go, A to 5, and then from there you should actually have a target of around 184.34 to 181. So right around this area, that's where your target would be on the IWM for your short term. So if this is the bearish scenario on the IWM, and I don't really see a bullish scenario for the IWM, but for the bearish scenario to play out, the C leg will end right around the 183 to 180 area. It actually coincides nicely with a gap fill. I believe there is a gap fill right here, right around 179. So again, we're probably going to fill that gap, keep pushing higher right into 183, and then you can maybe start to accumulate some shorts. But if we break past, let's say, this level here, and we keep going, and we come back into this upsloping purple trend line that I have drawn out, then that maybe we'll redraw a bullish count for that IWM, and I'll tell you guys what I see, potentially bullish for the small caps. But I don't really see that much bullishness in the small caps right now, even though they popped 5.49% today, right? It's very impressive because, it's lower CPI. It's buy everything. Everything's on sale. Get it now while it's cheap, right? But let's take a look here at some individual names. So take a look at PayPal. I always like to follow PayPal because it's so beaten up, very cheap stock, oversold. So PayPal is essentially following the ABC correction very nicely. It's starting its C leg. So now PayPal should be on its way to $60, $61. And again, you could set some take profits earlier, because you could see all this chop here, this resistance in this previous pivot could act as maybe some some minor resistance as we're going up. But if the markets remain bullish, which they should, then you could keep going higher to this level here. After that, I would expect the C leg to be done, and then you could start another 5 wave down, and this would be your final leg down. This would be your fifth of a fifth, and you should come down maybe to $47 to $40. And again, I know it seems very unlikely, but it's very possible that we could get there. And again, this is what happens when you make larger wave cycles that are bottoming out in a wave 2. They can go further than you think that they can. So the wave 2 can go even lower. All right. And then we'll take a look. I'll give you good examples. Maybe I think it's Wayfair. Is it Wayfair? Just W. I think Wayfair is a good example. I think they're extremely oversold as well. If it's not Wayfair, it's another stock. Something's wrong with my internet today. It's very, very slow to load up my charts. But overall, yeah, same thing. So weekly, I'll just cover. We'll get back on Market Cipher quickly, and we'll take a look at the IWM as well. I'm pretty sure we all got the same signals on all the indices. So looking very good too for the IWM on the weekly, but the monthly shows that the bears are still in charge, and things can get very ugly very quickly as well. That's why I'm on the cautious side right now. Let's take a look here. W. Is it Wayfair? No, I don't know if it's Wayfair. It might be a different stock. Maybe it's WBA. It might be WBA. Yeah, I think it might be WBA. So you can see you can see WBA it's not loading the rest of the data. I don't think it's just taking some time. There we go. It's starting to come slowly and steadily. Slow ass internet. I just reset it too, so I don't know why it's doing this. It's gonna make for a very long video. But overall, you guys kind of get the same picture. If you guys have been following Wayfair, it just keeps getting beat up and lower, and keeps going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And again, these names can get beat up for a very long time and give some time for the big money to actually start accumulating. And I'm pretty sure if we load up PayPal, you'll see all this accumulation at the lows right around the $50 area. And the whales that have even started selling, essentially, they only sold a little bit at 56. They got way more to go. I think they got 60. They're gonna take profit as the price goes up. Right, so it could also mean that maybe the fifth wave is finished, right? But we'll just move on. We'll just take a look at another name here. A ROKU, another very popular one. Some people like to trade this due to the volatility, or maybe hold it for long periods of time. But right now, ROKU is essentially potentially finished here. It did meet, like, I guess you could say, minimum requirements for an ABC. And it could already be in its fifth wave of the wave 1. So right now, if ROKU comes up, you should come back up to around the $100 area, right? So right around 101 are these previous pivots. You should start to see some resistance. After that, you should pull back into wave 2, and the wave 2 can come back down to around these levels right here, right around maybe 76, 77. I'm pretty sure. Let me just draw a bit of a retrace here for you guys. So if we get to around $100 level, you should come back to around the 50% retracement, which is right here, right around 78. And then you could start your third leg up. And again, this is the case where the small caps perform well and everything is very bullish at the end of the year, right? But if the markets fall apart, then I mean all of these scenarios I'm plotting out go right out the window, right? And then you kind of got to take your profits or take your losses and move on. Right now, let me cover. Will I maybe get a chart that loads properly? We'll see. Let me just take a look at the dollar today. We actually got a big move down in the dollar. So let's take a look at the DXY on the daily time frame. Again, dollar going down does help markets, and the yields coming down significantly as well is going to help markets a lot. They did find the floor today. Right around 4.8 on the 2-year, and then the 10-year, I believe, actually made a lower low, and the 20-year as well. So yields moving down is definitely going to help the market. I think that the 20-year is going to find some support right around 4.6 to 4.7. The 20-year should find some support, and it actually could even keep bouncing higher, right? So if the 20-year sells off and you see it starts to get oversold and we start to find support around this area, and then this is going to take off right back up into the 5 to 6% range. And I know it seems very unlikely, but trust me that the long-term trend in the yields has broken. It's shifted. You can see we've broken a 40-year cycle towards the upside. This is yields going higher for longer. All right. They may see people. A lot of people think they're going back to zero, but I don't think so. I really don't think they're going back to zero. All right. And you had your consolidation, right? You had your consolidation. Now you're breaking out. Now you're doing a bit of a retrace. You got to reload, and you got to keep going up. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. The chart has loaded. So NVIDIA is really just keeps gapping up every single day, higher and higher and higher. It's an extended C wave here, and it can keep going up. Don't get me wrong. It could just keep floating up higher and higher. But eventually, I think you're going to find resistance. If you do come up higher, maybe you can come up back to the previous all-time high at 500. But there is a phantom print, or not a phantom print. During the after-hours trading, there was a print of as a all-time high as 525. So 525 would technically be the all-time high. And a lot of people don't know that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually come back up to here and retest it, and then we'll come back down. Right? Maybe we'll do that. But again, NVIDIA extremely extended. It just keeps flowing higher. I wouldn't buy it now. I would just be watching it. If you bought it at the lows, congratulations. That was an amazing buy. You guys are doing really well. Let's take a look at Apple here. Take a look at Apple. And we'll give, we'll do this. We'll give some time for Apple to load, and we'll take a look at some other charts. So again, IWM has also broken out of its downsloping trend line. Right? You got to give credit where credit is due. This was a big breakout and on volume as well. Maybe not on this chart, on the Uganda chart, but on the IWM, it was on volume. So that's really nice to see. And let's just take a look here. Is Apple loaded? Apple has loaded. So to Apple is still technically in its wave one here. It can of a C leg. So again, it would be invalidated if Apple gets above 189, which is technically not a big order considering we're at 187. But overall, if Apple keeps going up, then it's following, the market is going to follow the bullish scenario. If Apple is a leading stock in the market, and if Apple keeps uptrending like this, which it's kind of not, it's kind of going almost vertical right now. But if it keeps trending towards the upside, if you cool off and you're building a base and you keep going up, then yeah, you're gonna be really wanting to take a look at the bullish scenario of the SPY going to 510, right, or 5,100 on the S&P 500. And that's everyone's starting to probably talk about it now. So I don't know if it might become a crowded trade. Maybe I will start to sell some positions earlier, but we'll take it day by day. All right. We actually had some very bullish news on natural gas, not actual news, but not phantom prints. Dark pool trades, leverage positions are being exited and entered on leverage ETFs. A big one came on Boyle, which looked like a buy order. Buy orders usually come on like let's say nice round numbers, like 2 million shares bought, right? Something like that was really nice to see on Boyle. And we saw like an uneven number or third largest trades being sold on KOLD, which, by the way, those are leverage ETFs to trade natural gas. So again, I've been very bullish on natural gas for a long time. Looks very promising, and I think we are going to hit this area once we get going. Okay, but it's a longer term trade. This is like a wheat trade that I'm taking as well, which is a very long term trade. It's slow, but it pays out because it's on a monthly chart pattern. What you can do is sell covered calls as you're doing that. Okay, all right. I think that I don't really have much to add. And again, another signal for, oh, look at that, the nice long signal right at the lows for PayPal. Let me just take a look at the SPY. So again, no sell or short signals either on the daily time frame, right? These red crosses that you see, Nothing. I don't see anything just yet, and that's why I wouldn't get in front of it at the moment, right? Same thing for the triple Qs. I don't see anything. Diamonds, we saw some a short signal, but again, I don't use the diamonds as the leading indicator for the market. You got to follow the SPY, all right? And also the IWM, we saw a red cross here. We did get downside, and then we saw boom, a huge pop, and then we saw this buying that came right here at the lows, 167. They picked it up at the lows, and now they're going to be selling it at the highs, and we'll have to see when they say, once they start selling. I'm willing to bet they're going to start selling right around 183. Sorry, 180 to 183 or 184, whatever you want to call it, between that area. So that's what I'm willing to bet, and it kind of coincides with kind of the center of the range that we've been at, the mean and this resistance area right here. We can even probably take a look at the VPVR, and we'll find some levels there as well. But overall, amazing trades overall. You know, for you guys who've been following me inside the Discord, you guys have been doing quite well. I don't think I have much to add. Dollar's starting to implode, and you would actually, I'll do a little bit of crypto here, even though I have a crypto channel exclusively for that, but we'll do some crypto. Bitcoin right now is definitely getting not a bid towards the upside, and you would want to see the dollar come down and Bitcoin go up, right? Because that would be bullish for Bitcoin. But you actually saw Bitcoin come down today, and I think that kind of spells out some news that could be coming for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to come back down significantly, maybe around to 32,000, and maybe you will get a bullish bounce back to 42K after. But yeah, that's about it. I don't want to talk about Bitcoin too much here. Gold is very nice pop today. Same thing for silver. Silver, huge rally as well. But we'll have to see. Well, we got to be patient, right? Because if the dollar starts to reverse, which it doesn't look like it's gonna, that could be very bad for precious metals and commodities. All right, I think that covers it for now. I think you guys know what you have to do. You gotta keep your eyes open, and you need to take into account the bullish scenario at all times and the bearish scenario. Right? Once you see one leaning more to one side, then you could start to lean more on your trades to that side as well, right? So on the next pullback, if we, since we've broken it through this high, we can start to take into consideration the bullish scenario of a stronger bounce back up to new all-time highs. And maybe it'll be very quick. Since this rally is so quick, maybe we'll come back to new all-time highs very quickly. Maybe we'll come back up into early January, right? And we'll be at 510 or 520 on the SPY, which seems very, very unlikely, right? But it's not that far away. Now that you put, when we were down here, it seemed unlikely, right? Because it's a 20% rally. Now that we've rallied 7% in a couple of days, or like a handful of days, it's only like 13%, right? Or the all-time highs are not even that far away. The all-time highs are 7% away. And it's not a tall order for an S&P that keeps going up 2 to 3% a day. But when we take a look at the SPY, right, on the S&P 500 on the bearish scenario, this does look like a bear market rally, right? Because bear market rallies are very impulsive, and we've seen this in 2022, right here, right around November, right? We saw this let me just get on the daily so we can probably see it a little bit better. 2022 during Christmas, right before Christmas, I believe. November, yeah. So right around November, you could see all this pumping, right? 10% up, massive rally. We fell down in October, and we're rallying into seasonality, right? And then we get to December, and December just falls apart, right? December just goes down 8% in like half the month, and it's just a disaster, right? But after that, the Fed steps in, or I don't know what happened last year. I can't remember all the dates, all the events every single day. But overall, you guys kind of get the picture, right? Or everyone's talking about seasonality for December, but in my opinion, if we're getting the seasonality, it's now. This is the seasonality, and we will get that pullback that everyone's talking about. We're gonna get that pullback, and when it comes, we'll have to see if it's a 1, 2, 3, or if it's just an ABC of a wave 2, right? Because wave 2 is correct in ABCs, like so. And when that does happen, then this will be a buying opportunity, and it will probably fill some gaps. And yeah, that'll be like a 5% drop, 4% drop. We'll see. Anyways, hopefully you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.